guys, it's Kristen. So I'm going to be doing a quick video today, bloom on a tile, using colors that I used last week to do a commission piece. I did 5 tiles and I posted it to a couple of Facebook groups, and a lot of people were inquiring how I created them. So I did not film it, so I'm going to film it today. And I have most of my paints already mixed up, except for one. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it on camera so you can see how I do it. So I'm going to be mixing this little piggy pigment. This is Seaglass. It's a beautiful like sea greenish kind of color. I'm going to mix that up. And my pouring medium is a combination of the Behr Deep Base 8300, the Valspar Ultra in base C, and Josonja Gloss Varnish. I do 2 parts Behr, 1 part Valspar, 1 part Josonja. I have it mixed up already in this container. I mix up a few cups at a time, just so that I don't have to do it each time I mix. And I just use these little 2-ounce reusable cups that I get off of Amazon. You can get 100 for like under $15. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. If I can get my container open. It gets very sticky in the treads of the container because of the paint. It dries and it sticks. So you'll notice there's big clumps. That's just dried paint. Okay, so it does kind of look like a milky, creamy, milky color. It does dry clear though. So it's good to mix with your pigments, because then you'll get the true color of the pigment. So what I do first is I just put a little bit of the pouring medium into the cup, not a lot. You just want to wet your pigment with a little bit of the pouring medium. And I'm gonna mix up about half of this, so about 1 ounce total of paint. That'll probably get me 10 or 11 or 12 coasters worth of use. So what I do is I just take a popsicle stick. I take about a thumbnail's worth of the pigment, maybe a little tiny bit more. And that's all you need. So while I know these things are pricey, you get a lot out of them. They'll last a really long time. Okay, so then what I do is I just very slowly, because you don't want this this powder to really go flying around, is you guys can see this. Okay, I just kind of slowly try to make sure I wet all of the pigment. And make sure you kind of get all the crevices here. Scrape around the sides. Okay, so now my pigment is all wet, and I kind of just give it a stir for a little bit. Sorry if I'm shaking the table and shaking the camera. And what I kind of try to do is push the pigment into the side of the cup. I don't know why, I feel like it helps it to disperse better. So as I'm stirring, I'm kind of pushing into the side of the container to help kind of squish the powder. And then you can always just scrape the sides real good as you're going around. Okay, so once you kind of feel like it's nice and creamy, I start adding a little bit more of the pouring medium. So I'm gonna fill it about halfway. And then just keep stirring. See, and as you'll notice, it keeps its shiny luster. If you find that you add too much pouring medium and you're losing your shiny luster, you can always just add a little bit more of the pigment. but make sure you mix it in really well, because once you have this amount of volume in the cup, it's a little bit harder to make sure you get all your pigment incorporated. All right, so that's a little bit less than half the cup, so I'm going to add just a little drop more, and that should do it. So that's about half the cup, or about an ounce. And you can still see it's still very sparkly and shiny. And then just make sure you get all your sides scraped and all the pigment powder is incorporated. So that's about half of the cup, so about an ounce, and that's all it takes. It leaves a little bit of a trace. And I like this consistency. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but I tend to like it like that. So that's how you mix up your pigment. Okay guys, I'm back. As you can see, I have my cake spinner set up inside of my doggy pool, and then I just lined my cake spinner with press and seal. So I have my tile here. So to get the tile to stick to the Lazy Susan, you can just put down some paint and it'll stick pretty well. You want to try to get it as close to center as possible. And then what I do once I have it down is I just take a paper towel and I kind of just wipe it down just to make sure there's nothing, no debris or lint or anything stuck onto it. Okay, so I'm gonna try to recreate the tiles that I made, and the colors that I'm using are, in order of laying them down, are this little piggy in Sapphire, beautiful deep blue color. And then I will use this little piggy in Ball Gown. This is an Interference Gold. It's beautiful. Then I will use, this is a combination of golden Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold and Folk Art Treasure Gold in Fire Opal. It's just a beautiful shimmery coppery type of color. Then on top of that, I will lay the TLP in Taffy. Pretty blue color. And the next will be our Golden Titan Buff. That's just a plain cream color. And then lastly will be the TLP Seaglass. This is the one I just mixed up, and it is just gorgeous. Okay, so that's the order I'm gonna lay them in. My cell activator is Prussian Blue from Amsterdam mixed with Australian Floetrol. I do 3 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. And my pillow is just a house paint Glidden interior exterior in white. This probably has a little bit of GAC 800 in it, but I probably won't add that going forward because it's really not necessary. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see. I'm just gonna put my pillow paint down, and I don't cover the whole tile. I kind of just put about that much. Okay, I don't want it to go over the edge just yet. So here's the Sapphire. Okay. And then the Ball Gown is next. Try to layer the interference paints between 2 darker or solid colors. I think it comes out better that way. And then the Nickel Azo and Fire Opal combo. That's just a beautiful color. We like this color. Okay. And then the TLP in Taffy. And I don't make perfect circles with this. Just however you get it on is fine. Okay, and then not too much of the Titan Buff. I don't really want too much of that, just a little bit. Okay, and then the Seaglass is the topper. All right, so you can kind of still see all of the paints through, except for the Sapphire, in which case sometimes I'll come back and just drizzle a little bit on the top, just so we get some of it on the top. Okay, otherwise you can really still see all the colors. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll take my little skewer, and if I see any bubbles, I'll go ahead and I'll pop them before laying my cell activator down. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, and then you want to center it, and then just put a small amount in the middle. Doesn't take much. Okay, and I give it a couple of seconds to sink in a little bit. And then what I do is I blow down, and then I blow out and over the paints in all directions. And just give it a couple of seconds for the cells to pop up. And any areas that the cell activator is still kind of solid and you want to try to bring up some cells, you can just use your straw and kind of help it along a little bit. And it's really not too much. Cells are popping up. Well, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, and then what you can also do is take your skewer and embellish the edges where maybe it hasn't blown out very good and kind of give them some swirls. So what I tend to do is kind of from the middle kind of go outwards and just drag it a little bit. See, this is kind of already there. Maybe just pull these through a little bit just to kind of give it a little bit of a flare. And this area looks pretty, and that's probably going to get blown off, but I might come through just adding a little more pillow paint to the corner so when I spin it, it doesn't get stuck. All right, so what I might do here is kind of just come through with a swirl. And then here, just kind of swirl it through. And this is really just personal preference on how you want it to look. And that probably is going to get spun off anyway. All right, and then center it. And then I'm going to give it a spin. Okay, you check your composition. I'm going to tilt it a little bit to this side. Give it another spin. And you kind of want to spin it to the point where you don't see the paint moving around anymore when you tilt it. And then it's just a matter of getting the composition where you like it. Sorry. And this is messy. You will get messy. I prefer not to wear gloves though. I think it's just easier that way. Okay. So let's check if it's moving a little bit. Okay, that's pretty. And we've got pretty good all over coverage, and my sides are covered. Okay, so I'm gonna call that one done. And I just use a spatula to lift it up. And there's the finished tile. Okay, I'll probably do one more. Okay, so here's the tile you just saw me do. I did say I was going to do a second one, and I did. I didn't film it, actually. It was an accident, I forgot. But here's the second one from tonight. This is the one you just saw me do. And these are the ones that I did last week. They're dry, not resined yet, but dry. But look how sparkly they are. The resin will bring out the sparkle even more. But you can see how they're just shining. They're gorgeous. They came out really pretty. So they're all the ones I made last week. Still need to get a coat of resin. So these colors were actually beautiful together. They came out really nice. If you enjoyed our video, which I hope you have, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. We are trying to build our channel. We just recently reached our 100 subscriber mini milestone. So our next video will be celebrating that. Kayla's picking the colors, and we will do a couple of pours in the next couple days and have the video up as soon as possible. So once again, thanks for joining us. Here's an overview of all of the finished tiles that will become coasters after they get a coat of resin. I put cork on the back, self-adhering cork, and I turn them into coasters. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again for coming. Have a good night. Bye.